Okay, so we're rolling. I'm gonna go around this way.
I can't believe I did that.
Did what?
Covered this whole crust, that little bit of filling.
So before we start, how about your new phone?
Well,
So we got a
the
new phone.
same phone.
Well, but it's a brand new phone.
Yeah.
It's the same model. Is this bubble migrating towards the edge?
Yeah, I've been working on it.
Yeah, it'll be good, it'll be good. What's this over here?
What?
Is that a bubble too, or a scratch already?
Oh, there is right here. That's where there was a bubble, and I have
Oh, I
most
see.
of it worked
Okay.
out, just not quite
Okay.
all of it.
So Emily's phone was having a battery problem,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow the screen had become cracked.
Somehow.
It's totally a mystery how that happened. But now she's got a completely new phone, which you have to get set up. Okay,
Yep.
so he wants to know how the job at Scotty's is going. Any memorable coworkers, experiences, or customers? Oh, you know what you ought to do is tell the camera about that group of guys that you were talking to me about. I think that will
Stiff
illustrate a lot of the problems with Scotty's, the all-you-can-eat wings guys.
Yeah. Well, the job at Scotty's is fine. The job. I like serving. Miranda just started working there, so I guess
Oh, yeah.
memorable coworkers.
How is she doing?
She
Or
just
has she really just?
She just had her last day of training on Friday, and she passed her final serve, so she's starting to serve on her own next week.
Cool.
And
She's doing pretty
who
well.
is Miranda?
My roommate and best friend. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about who is Miranda. I don't think that's gonna be a concern. But on Mondays at Scotty's we have $11.99 all you can eat wings, which is a nightmare.
$11.99 per person.
Yeah.
That isn't particularly cheap. What's included besides the wings?
Just wings, but you get 10. I mean, you could potentially get 20 wings for $11.99.
Because it's a free.
Or you could
one
get
free.
30. I mean, like if you could really eat that many, you get
Oh.
as many. It's unlimited wings
Okay, but they start them out with 10.
with 10, and then you get refills of 5. But you can get as many refills as you want.
Okay.
With as many different sauces and things like that. So that's already a nightmare because you have to refill it like 100 times, and you have to like keep track of everybody's sauces, and it's like keeping drinks refilled, but you're doing it with the food, and it takes. Imagine if you had every time they needed a drink refilled, you had to wait 15 minutes to do it, so you have to like plan that far ahead and figure out so that they're not sitting there with an empty plate of wings just waiting
So
for a
none
new
of
plate.
the servers care for this.
No, and none of the managers care for it. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
Is this like a Scotty's throughout the whole chain they do this?
Yeah, I mean, and it brings people in. Like, it's probably our most popular promotion. It's just a nightmare for us. So last Monday, like 2 weeks ago, I was working on a Monday night, and I had this table of 8 frat guys. I don't know if they were frat guys. They looked like frat guys. Come in, and they took up 2 tables in my section because they had to like push 2 tables together. And as soon as I saw them, I said to one of the other servers, I was like, I don't want them. Like, they just looked like the kind of guys who were gonna be jerks. And I was like, I really don't want them. But I went up, they all got all you can eat wings with all different sauces. So
How
I had to,
many
like,
of them were there?
there were 8 of them.
8 of them.
Which, for just one plate of all you can eat wings, is 80 wings. And then each refill is supposed to be 5 wings, but they all said they wanted 10 more wings, so they all got double refills, which was 160 wings total. So at first it was just 80. And they all got different sauces, so I had to like keep track of who got what sauce. And that took a long time to come out because it's 80 wings.
You can't tell them you can only have 5 at a time?
Technically, you're only supposed to have 5 at a time, but if they insist that they're like, well, we're going to eat 2 refills anyway, so go ahead and just ring them both in right now. They can do that. I mean...
Yeah, see, the problem is not the servers. It's this whole, the way the whole promotion is structured, the way I see it. So the servers and the staff just have to deal with it. It's
So they all got all you can eat wings, and they were just kind of rude, and water. So like, they're cheap too. And I was complaining about them back in the alley, and one of the other servers was like, oh yeah, they came in last week and didn't tip me. And then one of the other servers was like, oh yeah, they come in every Monday, get all you can eat wings, and don't tip their server. So I knew before their food was even out that I wasn't gonna get a tip probably. And then all their wings come out, well, half their wings come out. The other half, by the time the other half of their wings come out, that like, so 4 people's wings came out. By
Half of the 80 or half of the 100?
half of the 80.
Half of the 80.
By the time the other people's wings come out, the first 4 had already finished theirs. And they had all already put in a refill. With all different sauces. So I had to
Well, you were
figure out.
telling me that basically the kitchen was overwhelmed
Yeah.
by this order.
Because there was also another table of 8 that all got all you can eat wings, so they were swamped. So then when the second half's set of wings come out, they've all already put in a refill, but half of the wings are raw. They're like red in the middle. Which happens, which should not happen, and I should
the
be
kitchen
mad at the
was
kitchen.
overwhelmed.
But the kitchen gets so overwhelmed that like stuff like that is bound to happen, you know? And
Again, that's a problem with the way the promotion is
right,
structured.
we should have more capacity to make more wings at once, and you
You
know,
know.
all this stuff. But
So there-
because all the all-you-can-eat wings are raw, or a lot of them are, because that is our fault as a restaurant, it is policy, we comp all their meals. So their second refill, or their first refill hasn't even come out yet, and already we've comped all of their meals. And they're gonna get more wings.
and let's see, 8 guys
Uh-huh.
at $12
It was
That's
about $175 worth of wings when all was said and done. And so we have to comp all their meals, so they're eating for free. Then they try to order another refill of wings. We are out of wings.
How many wings can these guys eat?
I don't know.
You shake their pockets?
At this point, the kitchen has run out of wings. We are completely out of wings. So they're mad about that, and as soon as they found out that their meal is gonna get comped, they start asking for more stuff. Because like ranch is technically 50 cents, blue cheese is 50 cents with the all-you-can-eat wings. And they keep asking for more ranch and more this and that. And I'm being really nice, and like they seem really understanding, and they're like kind of being jerks, but also just the fact that they came in and ordered that many wings means that none of them have worked in a restaurant and understand, you know? So that kind of just makes them jerks as it is, without realizing that they're even being jerks. But I thought they were being pretty understanding, but then they left, and I got no tip, and they took up, I only had 3 tables in my section, so they took up most of my section they were probably there for 2 hours at least.
Yeah.
So for like half my
nothing.
night, for nothing.
For more work
yeah.
and no pay. But weren't you also saying that Isaac and
Yeah, Isaac and Dominic and Maddie and Cody came in, and luckily, when they came in, there was a table in my
and
section.
they didn't order all you can eat wings?
No. When they came in, one of the tables in my section was taken, and so they sat outside. I asked one of the other servers if I could steal one of his tables, and I told him when mine opened up, he could have that one. So they sat out on the patio, and so luckily, they were out there the whole time. These guys were there for most of the time, and I could go out there and just kind of like talk to them for a little while and breathe and vent. By the time these guys left, Isaac and Cody and Dominic and Maddie's table and the 2 tables next to them were all in on my frustrations because I was just like very openly complaining.
No.
Yeah, but luckily, I mean, I think Dominic left me like $30. Like they tipped me really, really well. Basically what happened was Dominic paid on his card for his and his girlfriend Maddie's. And then Maddie left, I think they had a deal that like he was gonna pay and she was gonna leave the tip. And she left me like $13, which was a great tip. But then he also left me like $15 on his card without telling her, I think. So I got like $30 from them, and then Cody left me like just a regular like 20% tip. And Isaac tipped me pretty well. So I ended up like making money for the night because of my friends. Otherwise I would have had a really stressful night and made almost no money.
You know what? Tomorrow is Monday and you're working.
It's also Labor Day, so I'm hoping there won't be a lot of people there because a lot of people go home for Labor Day weekend. That was also, I've worked out.
Do you suppose, you know, the other server told you these guys come in every Monday and do this? Do you suppose management has made
I
any
talked to-
adjustments, like let's have more wings, or let's let them only, if there's more than a few of them, they can only order 5
I talked to my
initially?
manager and I was like, those guys should not be allowed in anymore. If they come in and do this every week, why are we still letting them in on Mondays? Or why aren't we adding automatic gratuity to their bill or something? And she was like, the issue with this promotion in general is that people come in, get $11.99 all you can eat wings, and leave their server like $1. Like, a lot of people do it. And where do you draw the line on who's getting, you know, gratuity added, who's getting kicked out and who's not? Because a lot of people come in and do it every week.
Well, yeah, but management
Which is an
could
issue
do
with the
something.
promotion.
I mean, they could say, hey, if there's a big group, the kitchen only has a certain capacity, so you can only order 5 initially, and then, you know, we'll get more, but you can,
Yeah.
something.
People
I
would
don't
just
know.
throw fits about that. But that was also Miranda's first night of training.
Oh,
And it was crazy. I mean, it wasn't just me, it wasn't just the issue with my table. Like, we were overwhelmed with orders, and it was all wings, and the kitchen was super backed up, and it was probably the most stressful night for anybody in any position in the restaurant. And it was Miranda's first night of training. And I was like, at least you got that over with. At least you know what busy is. Now the rest of your
She
training will be
obviously
learning.
thinks she's gonna make more money there than at American
Oh,
Eagle.
she will. I mean, she absolutely will. I mean, I've made more money than her for the whole
Oh.
summer, so.
What about the remodel from the small bar to the big bar? How's that?
The bar is really nice, but it seems like when they remodeled the bar, they didn't think through the rest of the restaurant. So we have this really big, nice bar, and then all the tables that are the rest of the restaurant, they've kind of just tried to fit in to the rest of whatever's left. So the restaurant's not any bigger. They want to have the same amount of tables, but the bar is 3 times the size. So you can see where the issue, like where that becomes an issue. All the
Did
tables
that
are way closer
basically
together.
push out all the tables from the bar area? Because weren't there, my recollection is there was the bar up front, but there were tables around it.
There
too.
weren't really many tables. Now there are tables in the bar area. If you are 21, even if you don't want to drink, you can sit in the bar area. The issue becomes you cannot serve in the bar area unless you're 21. So now they're having to schedule people in all kinds of weird ways, and like it used to be they didn't need to know if you were 21 or not because unless you were a bartender. Now I've gotten scheduled in the bar a couple times and had to come into work and figure out who I can switch sections with because I can't serve in the bar. I mean, technically I'm not even supposed to run food to the bar, but there are enough of it. We do it because we need to help out. We need to do that. But yeah, technically I am not allowed to serve a bar
Are there any
table.
thinking people behind this?
It's just clear that whoever designed the remodel for the restaurant has maybe been a bartender, but has never served. Or they hired someone to remodel the bar without thinking about the rest of the restaurant. And the sections are weird, like the ideal section, you want to get a section 6 because it's 3 6-tops. Whereas section 5, which is right next to it, is a 4-top, or is 2 2-tops, or 2 4-tops and a 2-top. So whoever's in section 6 is going to make more money because they're going to get more people in their section.
Yeah.
So if they just gave one of those 6-tops to the section next to it and one of the 2-tops to the other, like all you have to do is divide the sections a little bit differently,
Sure.
and we would all be even.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, if you're scheduled in a certain section, you're not going to make as much money
You're
as the
automatically
7%.
handicapped.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's sort
they'll
of
get the
reasonable.
idea from you guys
The
complaining.
restaurant business, you wonder the IQ sometimes of the people running it. Because Kenny has run into this too, you know, I mean, not as a server or whatever, but he can see like at Bahama Breeze and talks to the servers, how these decisions can make big differences for how much money they make.
Yeah.
And how hard they make. Okay, tell us about the camping trip. You said it was just a camping trip, but I know firsthand that raccoons stole your food.
They did.
Mosquitoes were a problem.
Yeah.
Was this tent camping?
Yeah, we went camping at Indiana Dune State Park.
Which is where, up north?
North, yeah. It's where all the like big dunes are. So
So
it was tent
is
camping.
it near Lake Michigan?
There's a beach right on Lake Michigan that was a walk
Okay.
away.
Well, your dad has played gigs up there?
Yeah.
Out on the beach and got eaten up by mosquitoes.
Yeah, well, we swam in Lake Michigan, which was really fun. We climbed the tallest dune in the park, which was really tiring, but really cool. But then there were a lot of mosquitoes, and the last night we were there, we were supposed to just like leave in the morning, but it started pouring down rain in the middle of the night, and there were mosquitoes in our tent. And it was like 2 in the morning, and we were both awake, and we looked at the forecast, and it was going to be pouring down rain when we woke up in the morning, and we were like, let's just leave. Like, neither of us is going to sleep tonight.
Did you know
Let's just
beforehand
pack up
that
and
if you
leave.
touch the top of the fabric of a tent when
Oh, yeah, I know
the rain
that.
just
Yeah.
comes right in?
Uh-huh.
Do
Well,
they still do that with these modern fabrics?
yeah, they do. And sometimes, I mean, when you're
Was it leaking inside the tent?
a little bit, because when you're asleep, if you roll over and touch the tent, you can't help it.
Or
Like,
you bat a mosquito away.
right. So it was leaking a little bit. So we had an air mattress that was getting wet, and we were like sleeping on it, and that was not fun. But then we went to leave in the middle of the night, and because it was raining and at night, there must have just been a cloud of mosquitoes outside the tent, because in the 15 minutes or whatever it was that it took us to pack up our stuff and leave, I got more mosquito bites than I'd gotten the whole rest of the trip. Which I would have rather done that than been trapped in my tent with mosquitoes all night and then had to pack up in the rain in the morning anyway.
But there was no good solution.
But there was no good solution. And it ended up being kind of fake camping. We cooked the first night over the fire, but then overnight a raccoon stole all the food that we had bought. So we ended up going out to eat for every other meal because we didn't want to go grocery shopping for like one more night. So we just...
Is this a known problem, raccoons? Because you camp in Northern California, where there are big bear problems, but you've got ample warning. I mean, there's signs all over the place, bears are a problem.
There
Use
weren't
only
really
approved-
signs like that, but our site, so it was like this big campsite with like a bunch of different little,
Was it a
designated areas.
campground?
Yeah. We were on one that was right on the border of a fence with the forest was behind, so the raccoons could literally just come under the fence and be at our campsite.
Oh, so you were the most vulnerable.
Yeah. We also had a more secluded campsite, which is why we picked that one.
Uh-huh.
But we were the most vulnerable. And then the next night, we didn't even have any food, but the raccoons knew that there was a possibility that they were going to get something. So we were sitting by the fire, and Isaac just had a big stick. And they started to creep up. One of them tried to creep in, and we heard him, and he scared him away. And then 3 of them tried to come,
Wow.
and he scared them away. And we were hungry. We hadn't eaten. So-
I don't think you can sit right there, Norma. See the cameras
Oh, sorry.
there? So maybe down there at the other end. Yeah.
So
Move my stuff.
the second night when they had tried to come up a couple times, I was like, Isaac, what we really need to do is, because we were about to go have dinner, we had like some s'mores stuff was the only food we had on the campsite. I was like, we need,
Oh, after they'd stolen it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but we had gone and bought more s'more stuff, like after everything had been stolen. So we were like, we need to take the s'more stuff with us in the car. We need to take anything that is edible with us and go have dinner, so that while we're gone for like an hour, these raccoons can come and snoop around our campsite and figure out there's no food, so they don't try to come back in the middle of the night. So we did that, and we didn't have any other issues, and we ended up leaving in the middle of the night.
You
that
didn't
night
have a
anyway.
cooler that was critter proof?
Well,
No.
you said you did lock it up, not lock
We
it up.
put it in, we closed the cooler, and everything was in a cooler. But
That's a piece of cake.
we didn't,
Well,
we didn't realize how easily they were going to be able to get into
And
it.
they're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're smart. How many nights, okay, the last night was cut short, but how many nights were you there?
It was 2 nights, 3 days. Well,
You drove up?
We drove up early one day, spent the day, stayed the night, spent the next day,
Is
stayed
that
the
when you
night.
climbed the dune?
Yeah.
And swam in the lake?
Yeah. We
The
swam in
first
the
night.
we swam in the lake the first day. We climbed the dune the second day.
So you had 2 good days.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
How many days do you plan to stay?
Well, that was it.
That was it, yeah. We had a little bit of time the next morning that we could have done stuff, but we were planning on leaving the next morning anyway.
Oh.
The only thing that we had planned was we were gonna like go out to breakfast. But we'd gone out to eat so many times at that point without planning on it
Yeah.
that it wasn't a big deal. And then we got home at what?
Gave you money, didn't he?
Yeah. Because we didn't have it, we bought groceries. We spent money on groceries, not planning on going out
They
to eat.
didn't have enough money for 2 sets of groceries.
And then once we realized we were gonna have to eat out or buy new groceries, we didn't have enough money, which is why I had to call Grandpa and ask for some more money so that we could actually eat.
Yeah, and
This
the
is
way I
why-
transferred that money was with my phone. You know that if you're not on a Wi-Fi network with your phone, if you're using the 4G service, it is secure.
Is it?
Yeah, but, so that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought of other ways, but that was easy. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you still, was it just you and Isaac? Or-
Mhm.
Yeah, so are you guys still enthusiastic about camping, or is that sort of like falling off the bicycle and then not wanting to ride
We
a
like to go
bicycle?
camping like once a year. We went camping last summer and it was really nice. It was like a really nice time away. I think it was really good for us. This one was fun. I mean, it was fun. We like to go camping like once a year. It's not like we want to go camping all the time, but it is a nice getaway every now and then.
Did you guys take the Ols?
No,
You
we
took
took my car
Yeah.
because he hadn't gotten it registered in his name yet, and we didn't want to drive all that way.
Well, and anyway, the better ground clearance.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, well, he's got auditions for the Cave Show play. What's the play? What's it about? Blah, blah, blah. But let's just talk about the play. Speech and debate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a musical comedy, I understand.
It's not a musical. It's not a
That
comedy.
was a joke.
There is, I mean, it is comedy. It's more,
Is it? I thought it looked, because we looked it up on...
it's got very serious subject matter, but it's not strictly serious. I would probably categorize it as like a darker comedy
You'd
but it's
still
funny.
categorize it as a comedy, huh? Did
to
it?
some extent.
Maybe I need to read that.
It's not
synopsis
strictly
again.
a comedy, but I would call it in some, I mean, it's funny. It's not strictly like serious and dark the whole time.
But it's some serious subjects. You said
Yeah.
there's a couple of gay characters, so it's obviously has something to do with gay issues. But it's more than that, isn't it? What other issues does it touch on?
So like the premise is it's these 3 teenagers. It's Howie, Solomon, and Duwada. Howie is very openly gay and has been since he was like 11. Solomon is very closeted and tries to out everybody else kind of to cover his own butt. He like is all about scandals. He's like a self-proclaimed journalist. He like wants to write about everything. And Duwada she's kind of a theater kid, but she like never gets cast as anything. She doesn't really have any friends.
Are these high school kids?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all high school.
Um,
Is Solomon Jewish?
I think so. But they live in Salem, Oregon, and their town is in the midst of this like sex scandal because the mayor was caught talking to younger boys online, like high schoolers, not like little kids, but like high school boys online. And there's also an issue of the drama teacher at their school was doing the same thing, and it was
With his or her students?
yeah, but it was with Howie, who at the time did not go to the high school, and they didn't realize who each other was. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't realize that he was about to go to the high school or that he lived in the same town because they just like didn't realize the coincidence. And so Solomon's trying to out everybody, and that's how he kind of gets to know Howie, or he gets to know Duwada, because she claims that she has all these secrets about the drama teacher because she wants to get revenge on him for never casting her. And they
It's complicated.
yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's very political. It makes you look at very serious subject matters in a different way, which I really like.
This must be a pretty recent play with
Mm-hmm.
the things like internet.
Yeah, it was written in the late 90s, I think. Maybe early 2000s, I don't remember what year exactly.
But it's totally
But I'm
contemporary.
setting
isn't
it right now, basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
You're setting it right now, meaning you're tweaking it a little bit?
no, it's all of the
So there's nothing in it that's, because late 90s is 15 years ago. So there's nothing in it that's at all
Time
dated,
dated.
that you're.
not really. It's all pretty current.
So when you say you're setting it now, you're just thinking of it
It's
as
just
a
current.
today.
Yeah, and I'm not going at it as it's set in 2014. It's modern. Like their clothes are going to be modern.
Mhm.
There's nothing period or dated about it.
Mhm.
Same problems exist now as did then.
Yeah, and the only real technology thing is they're in like a internet chat room, which exists today just like it did 10 years ago,
Right.
you know. So I don't think I'm gonna have an issue with it.
So you have, did you say just 4 characters?
5 characters, 4 actors. One
Okay.
actor plays 2 characters.
Okay.
The only adults
Is that
in the
on-
show are played by the same actress.
Oh, you needed somebody that really was an adult.
Well, that could play. She's a sophomore in college,
Oh,
but I mean, I can only cast college kids, but
well, that's not true. Oh, well, I mean, I should say, we've seen plays with adults in them, remember?
yeah, but I can't do that.
You can't.
I can't do that.
Okay. And why would you have one actress play 2 roles? Why couldn't
It's
you?
in the script. It says she can be played by 2, but it's better if she's played by 1. And the way I see that is, she is a representation of all the adults. The story is about high schoolers. She's a representation of the adult world.
So there's some significance to the audience recognizing that this is the same actress?
I think
you
so.
That's done on purpose? Is she made up totally differently when she?
I'd like her to be. I mean, I don't want it to be like caricature-y, but she's definitely 2 very different characters.
She's 2 different characters, but would the audience perceive that although she's 2 different characters, it's one actress?
I think so.
So maybe somehow that gets into their psyche as, oh, this is a representation of adults. Huh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And you got the actors that you wanted. And how was that? Did you have to do some horse training?
Not
'Cause you
really.
You mentioned to me that you talked to somebody before and he'd said, well, if I've got somebody I want
Right.
for a
Well,
minor role
'cause
and you want them for a major role.
There were 3 directors casting from the same pool. 2 of us were student directors. One of them is faculty. And the faculty member, his callbacks, all the callbacks were the same day. Andrew's were in the morning, mine were in the middle of the day, and Matt, who's a faculty member, his were in the evening. So he stopped into both of our callbacks toward the end and said, who are you seriously considering? I will go into my callbacks with that in mind. And he wasn't saying, I will not pick the same people as you do, because if he really wanted someone who we had picked, we would have just had to hash it out and figure it out.
But at least he said he'd keep it in
yeah,
mind.
I really like him. He's a really good guy. But we all went in, and Andrew, the other student director, and I did want one of the same person. But he and I had talked earlier in the day and kind of decided that if it came down to it, he could have him. Because I had a plan B, and he didn't really. So we all went in, and there were really no conflicts. And the meeting was really easy. We all wanted different people. We all got who we wanted.
How did it happen that he gave up on his first pick?
He didn't, I did.
Oh,
She said she had a plan B.
I did. But
You don't seem too concerned about it.
I'm not
So
too
your plan
concerned about
B
it.
was a B
And-
plus?
yeah, my big concern with him was that he was not at auditions. He sent in an audition video, but his dad was getting married that weekend. And so he could, which is totally like a fair excuse, but he sent in an audition video, but he couldn't get callbacks, so I never actually heard him read for the part. I had to base everything off of his audition video
Ooh.
and off of the Matt Reeder, who is the professional director. He directed Equus last year,
Yeah.
and the kid I cast was in Equus. And so I talked to Matt for a while about like his work ethic and you know what kind of a person he is, and I described the character and I was like, do you think that he could play this? And so we talked about it a lot just because he has worked with him, so I got that little bit
And
of
he
insight.
said this guy was good?
Yeah, and I've gotten to know the kid. I mean, we haven't started rehearsals yet, but I've gotten to know the kid a little bit. And I mean, even if he's not perfect for the part, even if he doesn't fit in the character the way I want him to, which I don't know yet because we haven't gotten into rehearsals, he's a great guy and he's super excited and he's going to put in a lot of work and he's going to be a really good energy in the rehearsal,
So,
which is important, which is as important as anything really.
yeah.
So you think you got all people who will memorize their parts and really put it?
Yeah, everybody's really excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So rehearsals start?
Next Monday, September 14th.
Uh-huh.
Week from tomorrow.
And,
How often do you rehearse?
yeah.
5 times a week.
Woo.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday.
All late night?
Sundays Sundays are a little flexible, but everything else is 7 to 10:30.
Well, that seems like a lot, but on the other hand, you don't have that much time. It opens on the...
I have 6 weeks, including the week of the
6
show.
weeks.
So I have 4 weeks of real rehearsals, a week of tech, and the show.
Are you responsible for the tech too, as director?
I should have a stage manager. I don't yet, but I also have a couple designers. I have a lighting designer and a sound designer.
Are you gonna get a stage manager? Is that what you said, stage manager?
Yeah, all of our stage managers are really overbooked, and they're still trying to figure out who our stage managers are going to be, and nobody's keeping me in the loop. But I'm definitely going to have a stage manager, but I don't know who it is yet. And I start rehearsals in a week. I feel so bad for Andrew, who is the first Cave show. He's been in rehearsals for 3 weeks now and still doesn't have a stage manager.
Ooh.
Are they assigned by the staff?
Yeah,
Oh, you don't audition those or whatever.
no. I mean, we have a new head of the stage management option, and she's just kind of taking forever to figure this out.
Well, at least you're not Andrew.
All I know right now is that more than likely I'm going to have 2 stage managers. I'm going to have a stage manager for the first half and a stage manager for the second half, because there are no stage managers that are available for the entire rehearsal process of my show.
That's gonna be quick.
Yeah, which is better than not having a stage
Sure.
manager at all.
How do
But-
sets get built and stuff? Is that?
We're not really allowed to have a set. I mean, it has to
Oh.
be very minimal.
Oh, so it's like we've seen in the cave shows before, a couch sitting there, or a table, or a lamp, or
Yep.
something. Okay.
Washer and
So
dryer.
not a big deal.
Yep.
Okay, what else do you want to say about your show?
I don't know yet. I'm not in rehearsals yet.
We'll have an interview afterwards. Did you go to any concerts or events or anything over the summer?
I saw Ed Sheeran in concert. I think that's it.
Who's Ed Sheeran?
Yeah.
He's a singer-songwriter.
Where was it?
Klipsch, Deer Creek.
Oh, over there.
Forever.
Oh, you know how to say that.
Klipsch.
Your trip to Chicago, when you went to the Giants game and then you went to the show,
Mm-hmm.
we saw you up there at the Giants game. Had you just driven up that day, or had you been up there the day before?
We basically drove up, stopped by our friend's apartment to drop off our stuff where we were staying, and went to the game. So we had been in town for probably an hour and a half when we
Okay.
saw you guys.
Well, your friend didn't live too far. Remember, I Google mapped it.
Yeah.
It was a short
We just
walk
took the L
to it.
train.
Yeah.
We took the L. We had to switch trains once, and it was really short.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because we took the L, we didn't take buses.
Well, yeah, but I think the L, I looked at that number 22 bus, which comes right down Clark, but I think the L just runs a few streets over.
It does, but
Because it
it
runs
was.
in back of the ballpark.
It
The
does.
bus runs in front.
But we had to get on the brown line, and the red line goes to.
Oh, you had to
so
go,
we had
you
to
had
take
to go
the brown
east
line.
on the brown line and then down to the
Yeah.
ballpark on the red line.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember
But it wasn't. It was 2 stops on the brown line, and then
that. What did that
4
cost
on
you?
the red
Do
line.
you remember?
We paid $10 for a day pass.
Hmm.
But you don't have to pay to change trains at all.
Well, when you have a pass, it's
Yeah.
unlimited.
But you don't
rides.
have to pay, even if you pay for
transfer.
yeah, you can transfer as much as you want,
Oh,
as long as you don't leave the
go
station.
outside the
and-
station,
Yeah,
like Bart.
Yeah.
Like Bart.
yeah.
Okay. And the Giants won, let's see, I can't remember. I think they might have won. No, they didn't win. You guys look great though.
Not quite.
They look like Giants fans.
Yeah.
Even
I was-
only one of them was.
I was really excited because at the very beginning of the game, I was so bummed when I found out that Posey wasn't playing. I was
He didn't
so
play that. He didn't play that.
bummed.
Didn't he pinch hit?
But he pinched hit, yeah, right at the end, and I was very excited because I had been I was wearing my Posey jersey, like, I was so disappointed.
But he didn't get a hit, did he?
No, but he still played for a minute, and
Did Crawford play?
yeah,
Yeah.
Miranda was wearing my Crawford shirt.
Well, so you had a good time even though they lost. Do you think Isaac and Miranda had a good time?
I think so. They were really afraid that they were going to get heckled really bad, and they were like, we're not really even Giants fans. Like, they were like, oh, we don't want to get heckled. And I was like, I don't think you will, guys. Like, Cubs fans are really nice. And they were. I mean, we got
Oh, yeah.
teased jokingly, but nobody was mean. Even like one of the managers or one of the guys who was in charge of the whatever when we came in
Dishes.
pulled us, it wasn't even an usher, he was like a manager, like he was in charge of more than that, pulled us aside and was like, where are you guys from? And like, have you been here before? And like, showed us where to find our seats and like showed us the booth where we could get the little like certificate that said first time at
game.
Wrigley, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was just really
Well,
nice.
we had that experience too in Cincinnati, and I think, I mean, you think about it, this is probably policy in
Yeah.
every ball. Because what do they try to do? They're trying to sell tickets.
Right.
They're trying to get you back.
But
Why
even the
would they be
fans,
mean?
I mean, even the fans were pretty. There were some people up where we were at first in the really crappy seats that were jerks. But overall, most people were really nice. And especially when we moved down closer to you guys, everybody was really nice.
Our experience at Wrigley has been really good most
Mhm.
times.
Well, our experience, really every place we've gone has been good. And, you know, we do it to people in our ballpark. You've probably seen it when you've gone to games there. I mean, I'll say to a guy who's got on a Cincinnati shirt, you know, if you get 10 of those, you can trade them in on one Giants shirt and stuff like that, but it's all in fun.
It was
you
funny
know?
because we were about to get on the L train, and Miranda was like, we're about to get on a train of a bunch of people going to Wrigley Field, like, and we're in Giant stuff. Like, it's gonna be all Cubs fans. And I was like, it's fine. The first guy we saw when we got on the train had a Giants hat, and he was like, yeah!
Well, do you remember when your graduation trip, when we went out that July or whatever it was, and we were taking the bus from that
hotel.
Union Square Hotel to the ballpark?
Yeah.
So there was one time when we were playing Cincinnati, at least 3 of those games, and we were sitting or standing right next to the Cincinnati. They were all decked out, jerseys, caps, and everything. And we had a great time talking to them and teasing back and
You
forth.
always tease for like a minute, and then you get into actual conversation of like
Yeah.
being nice to people.
Yeah. So, you know, it's fun. And
That's part of the
really,
game.
that's really been our experience wherever we've gone. Now, I don't know about Dodger Stadium, you know. And,
I
well,
mean,
and
they'll
I'll
put you in a coma.
Well,
What?
and I'll tell you something. That kind of camaraderie can go away after the game if the Giants have beat that other team.
Yeah.
I've had this experience of they're not nearly as friendly after a loss
Yeah.
as before the game has started when you both could
Yeah.
win. And so I've stopped on the way out.
Don't talk
stop
to
trying-
anybody.
Yeah, not if you've lost. Now, if they've won, they're happy to talk to you because they want to heckle you a little bit.
Which is fine.
I can take that.
Yeah.
Well, but then you went to a show the next day. What? I don't even know what that was.
It was this really weird experimental show at Red Orchid Theater. I can't even describe what it was about, but it was really
Red
cool.
Orchid Theater, some underground.
Is that
No,
downtown?
it's a pretty popular. It's right next to. It's right down the street from Second City.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. A couple of the faculty members at Ball State are artistic directors at Red Orchid. The head of the directing option is an artistic director at Red Orchid. So.
and so that's why you knew about it. And that's
Yeah,
why
so
you-
my friend Brent, who just graduated and moved out there, was doing box office stuff for Red Orchid and got us free tickets.
Oh,
Yeah. It was pretty cool. And we spent some time before that walking around Lincoln Park. We went to this,
oh yeah.
park that I've been wanting to go to forever that is only like 2 blocks away from our favorite pizza place, which is right by Lincoln Park Zoo. It's Oz Park. there's all these statues of like the Wizard of Oz characters. It was really cool, and it's little. I mean, it's not like you spend a lot of time there, but we had like 40 minutes to wait before we got sat at the pizza place. So we just walked a couple blocks down and like took pictures of all the statues. It was really cool.
Oz Park. So the play was weird?
Mm-hmm.
Weird bad or
Good weird. I
good?
mean, you guys would have thought it was weird bad. I thought it was really cool.
So good. And then, so that was the next night, and then you just came home?
Yeah, we just drove home after that, like at night.
Oh, you didn't even stay another night?
We drove home. It was actually kind of cool. We stopped by. I've never been to Miranda's hometown. She's from Columbia City, which is this really tiny town outside Fort Wayne. And her dad, they grew up on this farm, this like really big farm, and her dad just sold it. And it was like empty, and it was one of the last times she was going to be able to see her old house.
Oh.
And so we stopped in Columbia City on the way, and we got to explore her old house, and I got to see where she grew up. It was like 1 a.m, but we drove around her high school, and I got to see
You're
her high
lucky
school.
somebody didn't call the cops.
They're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I was like, do you have a key to your house? And she was like, we don't lock our house. Like, farmland, middle of nowhere, you know?
Except for
And
these college kids that are driving around
Right.
here.
Suddenly it's 50 years ago.
she was like, we drove around the high school, and she was like, I wouldn't be surprised if a cop pulls us over driving around the high school. And she was like, but if they do, I know them. She was like, I know all the cops in the town. It'll be fine. Like, she grew up in this little tiny town, and I've never been there. And her dad was selling the house, so this was the last chance that I could see, like, where she grew up. So it was really cool.
Was she sort of nostalgic about?
She was really sad about the house.
Yeah.
Which it was good for her dad, because he had been trying to sell it for a long time and finally got it sold, and it was actually a really good thing.
The house or the whole farm?
Both. It was a chicken farm. It wasn't like they had like a bunch of land.
Gotcha.
They had chicken. They like sold eggs, but they also had like horses and stuff like that. So it wasn't like land. Like they didn't like grow crops, but they had a bunch of barns and stuff and a decent amount of land.
Hey, how many kids were living together in Chicago?
Well, one of our friends, it was him and his fiance, and then 3 guys at a different house, at a different
Get
apartment.
any feel for what rents are like up there?
They were each paying $600 each, which is not bad at all for the middle of the city. It's really not. I mean, they're not like in the heart
Yeah,
of the city,
they are.
but
They are right in the city.
yeah.
They're not inside the loop, but they're.
And minimum wage in Chicago is $10 an hour, so you got to think about that too, you know.
See, liberals.
Yep.
Classes for this
Well, then.
semester.
I'm taking history of acting and directing, pre-modern theater history, computers and theater and dance, an immersive learning project, which we already talked about in the last one, I think, and gender studies.
Yeah, so gender studies. Have you started that class?
My teacher's dumb.
Oh, you were excited about that
I mean,
class. Weren't you?
I still am. I mean, we get to write some papers that I'm actually kind of looking forward to writing, but she's just so stupid.
What, like what?
She just like doesn't know how to lead a class. Like she's so uncomfortable. She'll just say something and like laugh at herself and then just stop and like nobody else laughs and nobody else is really sure what she's talking about. And then she'll just get really awkward and be like, oh, sorry.
Is she a new teacher?
No, apparently she's been teaching it for a while. I don't really know. She's just not. She's.
Yeah.
I
Well,
just don't
maybe
like her
she'll
at all.
get comfortable with you guys after a while.
I doubt it. I don't think it's an issue of
Well,
discomfort.
but you should cut
I
her
think
some slack initially.
I don't think it's an issue of discomfort. I genuinely think she just doesn't know how to like talk in front of people, which is what you have to do as a teacher. Like she doesn't know how to like lead discussions. And that's what this whole class is supposed to be, is discussions.
What is gender studies? I just heard on TV of somebody, was it the Melissa
Harris Perry?
Harris Perry show where she had somebody on that had majored in, or was teaching gender studies. What is gender studies?
I mean, it can be a lot of things. This one is like an intro to women's and gender studies, so you're talking about a lot of like the history. Like we watched a movie about women's suffrage and like women getting the right to vote, and you read a couple current events papers about like whatever you want, really, like women in the media, or if there's
Well, so
like a
it's-
movement.
It's women's studies.
Yeah.
Not gender studies. Isn't there any equality here?
Is there a gender studies for men?
Well, they ought to call it women's studies. That's a legitimate name. If it's women's studies.
Gender studies for men is called history. I mean, we had a whole conversation the other day about how you don't learn about the suffrage movement in high school.
Don't you?
You learn about wars, you learn about all this stuff. You do not, you learn that women gained the right to vote in 1920, but you don't actually learn about the suffrage movement at all. You don't really know what it is.
Well, we have Betsy Ross.
That was a little bit before the women's suffrage movement.
I know, but that's about it, you're
Well,
right.
but, yeah, okay, I see the point. Something I read recently said the trouble with history is it's just damn facts all the time, one right after the other, and it's not, of course.
Yeah. I mean, one of the classes I really would like to take is called Women in Iniquity, which is women in ancient Greek and Roman societies, because in theater classes I learn a lot about ancient Greece and Rome because that's where theater started, really. But women, as we talked about in pre-modern theater history the other day, in ancient Greece and Rome, women were almost like puppies are today. Like, it's nice to have around. You really love your puppy. They're useful in making you happy. But you're not going to take your puppy to work with you. And you're not going to give your puppy any rights.
And further, puppies are property.
Puppies are property. Exactly. So when we learn about specifically theater in ancient Greece and Rome, it was men. Like, there's just not a lot to learn about women in those societies.
Now, I don't know about ancient Greece and Rome, but in Shakespearean times, women's parts were played by men.
Exactly. So if you go all the way back to ancient Greece and Rome, I'm really interested in learning about what we actually know about women, because all I've learned is that women didn't do, like, these are the rights that women had, so we don't really know much about women at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they had very little influence over theater. And so really what I'm learning about is ancient Greek and Roman theater, which means we're not really learning about women.
Right.
So I think that's a class I'm going to try to take, because I think it would be really useful. And
Yeah.
that will, if I think I am going to get this gender studies minor, and that will count for one of those classes, which would be really cool.
What, didn't you have a declared minor before?
Business marketing or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not doing that one anymore.
Did you not go down that path at all?
Mm-mm.
So you can do the gender studies, pick up the courses that you need for a minor. Must not be very many courses.
It's 18 credit hours.
So 6 courses
It's
or so.
it's it's a capstone, intro to gender studies, and then 15 credit hours, which is essentially 5 classes from a list of like 30. Which I've learned is not as easy as it sounds, because some of those 30, like one of them is like psychology of sexuality or something like that, which is a class that you can take that will count for the minor. However, in order to take that class, you have to take intro to psychology,
Mhm.
which doesn't count for the minor. You just have to take it in order to take this other class.
Mhm.
So I will not be taking this class, which means I will not be taking
Mhm.
this one. So you have to find what within that you can take without,
Because
having
your
to take
goal
extra
is still to
classes.
graduate in 4 years.
yeah,
How many units do you need to graduate? Is it 120?
20, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And after this semester, how many will you have?
I'm not really sure.
Well, you're
I'm
on
somewhere
track.
between 60 and 90 right now, because I have to take my writing proficiency exam. So I have above 60 but under 90. I'm taking my writing proficiency exam
But you're on
next
track
weekend.
to graduate on time.
Yeah.
Hey, can we go back a little bit to your research class that you're doing?
The
What-
immersive learning.
Yeah, the immersive one. What's the process now until it actually gets produced?
We're still kind of trying to figure it out. Right now we're still in the research stages. It hasn't quite started to shape itself yet.
But
But still-
there is a date when it's gonna be presented, right?
Mhm.
In December?
December, yeah. It'll be a staged reading, so.
You're gonna be very busy this fall, aren't you,
Who's gonna do the reading?
with that and that?
Actors,
One of you guys or?
I mean, different actors. It's not one person reading it.
Oh.
It'll be as many actors as there are characters. There's not like set blocking.
Oh,
It's
I
not
see.
like fully staged. Yeah.
Have you actually been working on that recently? Aren't you
The
sort of on?
project?
Yeah, aren't you sort of on hiatus after the summer session?
Well, we're back in classes, so we're still in the research stage is the thing.
But, I mean, really, are you doing anything?
Yeah, I'm doing research
Oh, okay.
to try and piece it all
Okay,
together.
okay.
Grandpa, doing anything? Of course.
Well, that works. Yes, I'm working.
Because we want to start piecing it together in the next like 2 weeks, or finding a shape to it. But right now we have to find some more research to figure out how it's going to shape and like what kind of play it's going to be and what kind of characters we're going to have. It's very up in the air right now. We're thinking we're going to find a case of like a sexual assault case at a college and use that as like the foundation and kind of bridge out from there.
Like a legal case that went on?
Probably.
Hmm.
Well,
Well,
look
if
under Santa Barbara.
if you find the right one,
Mhm.
but the thing is, every case is unique, you know?
Right.
And so you don't wanna go down some tangent of, well, this only applied in this case.
Right.
Looking for general.
One of the colleges that was really at the forefront of all the sex and violence stuff, Santa Barbara.
There was also some college in Montana
Yes, I read about that.
that Karen, who's the head of the directing option and leading this immersive learning class, just read a whole book about, and it's mostly in their sports teams. It's bad, and like nobody really does anything about it. And she said she was reading this book about it and like all the cases and everything, and she would have to read like a chapter and put it down because it was just so hard to read because so much. I think the book is just called like Missoula or something
I'm
like
gonna
that.
say it's probably Missoula.
Yeah.
Wow, I never heard anything about it.
They're
Was it a long
basically
time ago?
no, it's like still happening.
That's
Like
really
part
sad.
of the initiation and like for their sports teams is to like sexually assault people. Like, and it's a known thing and the coaches are even kind of part of it and like nobody really does anything about it.
It's like the prep school up in the Chicago area where what they call it,
Oh, senior salute,
senior salute, how many women you can,
girls.
girls you can rape
Yeah.
before you're out of school.
Which actually that case was a little messy because most of it wasn't rape. Most of it was consensual.
Well, in fact,
But it was
he's
still-
been,
But it's how
he's
you
been-
get the girl to consent.
Exactly.
He's been convicted.
Yeah.
And he was not convicted of rape or sexual assault,
Right.
but he still is facing years in prison
Mhm.
potentially. He says any classes that you're dreading about those you listed?
I mean, they're all hard. They're all going to take a lot of work, but I think I'm going to enjoy everything I'm taking this year.
Oh, and the last question was detail about your current classes, but we did that.
Yeah.
You had a class last semester that you really didn't like. What the heck was the reason?
Oh, my directing musical theater class.
Yeah.
Yep, that same person is teaching pre-modern theater history. But she likes me, so
How'd you do in the class?
I think I got an A. I mean, it wasn't the grade, it was the frustration. But it was also her first year teaching at the school, and I think she's chilled out a little bit. From what I can tell
It's
so
so dependent
far.
upon the teacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, really, a bad teacher can ruin a good subject. But that's the way it always is from grammar school on. What would you say? Would you say most of the teachers in the theater department are good?
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's a few bad eggs.
Yeah. There's a few difficult eggs.
Mhm.
They're all really smart. Some people just go about it the wrong way. Because the thing is,
Well, you
most
can know your subject and be good at your subject and not be able to teach
Right.
it too.
well, the thing is, most of the professors in the department are very down to earth and treat you as an equal, and you can go to them for like personal problems, and they're very understanding and they're very approachable. And some teachers come into Ball State. This is usually with new professors, like new to the school, from what I've experienced, and want to be an authority figure more than
A collaborator.
a collaborator and a friend.
Mhm.
And I mean, in like one of my professors who I've had for quite a few classes, he'll be like, this is the goal of the class. And yes, a grade is part of it, but really this is what I want you to learn. And while you do have to get the grade, this is what's important. And if you do this, then the grade will be fine. But it's not like, here's all the power I hold and let me, like, if you have a big paper and you go into your professor's office and say, will you read this and tell me if I'm doing okay, they'll do it. It's not just like,
Before they even grade it?
yeah, it's not just like do your best and turn it in blindly. It's like if you need help along the process, if you have questions, if you want me to give you critiques, I'll do it because I want you to get a good grade and I want you to make this paper as good as you can. You know, which also encourages people to get their stuff done early and not procrastinate until
Well,
the
it's
last
a lot
day.
more opportunity for learning that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you can see some ethical dilemmas there. Like,
Well, but they're also smart enough that if someone comes in with a paper that they clearly just like half-assed, they're gonna be like, really? You know, like they know the difference between I really
so they're
tried
not
and
going to rewrite it for you.
no.
But
But they
how
can
do you
look at it
suppose-
and say, you have too much plot summary where you need to have more argument. And then you can go back and fix it before you turn it in.
How about people who don't take advantage of that consultation? How do they do?
Fine. I mean,
or are you just stupid
I
if you
don't
don't
a
go?
lot of the time.
You don't.
Because, partially because I've been a TA for aesthetics, and a big part of aesthetics is grading papers and the way that we should be writing papers. And so I have a pretty good idea. I mean, I have taken advantage of it, but a lot of the time I feel fine about my work, and I do fine.
Well,
I'm
that's
pretty decent at writing papers. Like, that's not something that I'm super
so.
worried about.
The good teachers, professors, are become friends.
Yeah,
Like you
and
call
they're
them
there
by
to
their
help.
first names.
I call most of my professors. One of my issues with the professor that I really don't get along with is she forces you to call her doctor in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
In rehearsal, you can call her by her first name. Whereas all the other doctors in the department, they don't care what you call them. You know, because they're there to teach you. They're there to be a mentor, not to be an authority figure and have the title that they deserve.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. I used to object to students who call me ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I'm either
Well,
Norma or Mrs.
That's
Skip,
kind of
I'm
like
ma'am.
I view that as kind of a self-esteem thing. So if you're comfortable, the title doesn't make much difference.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids will know if you've got your doctorate eventually.
Yeah. Well, like one of the guys.
But if you insist that they recognize that every time they address
Yeah.
you, that's like, I'm very unsure of myself.
Well, and one of the guys who teaches like a lot of the theater history classes in the department, his name's Dr. Tyler Smith, and half of us call him T. Smith. Like, it's just like he doesn't care, you know. And on his syllabus, it says Dr. Tyler Smith. We all know that he's a doctor,
Mhm.
but he doesn't insist that we call him that. You know, we can call him Tyler, we can call him T. Smith, whatever we want to call him.
Mhm.
I mean, within reason. Because he knows that we respect him, you
Yeah.
know? And he knows that we know that he is good at what he does and he has his position for a reason. And
You basically earn it.
Yeah.
You don't force it.
yeah.
College, I wonder if, you know, they're a lot different than when we were
Oh,
in
yeah.
college, but maybe this is the norm now.
To really
Well, to be,
work in a way that encourages a student rather than
and
just
friends and collaborators, you know, and rather than I am the authority and I will tell you from on high what you need to know about the subject.
And I mean, it's not with every new professor either. We have a new guy who's the head of like theater marketing, and he's teaching computers right now. And he doesn't have a doctorate, but we were like, what do you want us to call you? And he was like, David. That's fine. He was like, just don't call me doctor because I'm not a doctor. So like, most people are really down to earth, and like nobody calls Karen Mrs. Kessler, or like that's just not a
You think
thing.
this is true in other departments?
I think for some people, I think that there's probably professors who want to go by their last name to keep a separation, especially if they're not teaching a class that is going to have a continued relationship with their students. But I would guess that people in majors who teach like a lot of the classes within that major end up going by their first name because people get to know them.
What about like Miranda with her education teachers? She calling them with the first name?
I mean, most of her education classes are theater education classes. So she has separate education classes, but I think most of them she calls by their first name.
You know, I think there would be some classes where it really wouldn't matter. Consider a class where there's a lecture, question and answer, then you're done, then tests. So they could demand that they be called doctor, or they could say you can call me Bill. But it doesn't matter because there's not much interaction with them anyway.
Yeah, like my
A lot of
math
my
125 teacher, I don't know what he wanted us to call him, but I never called him anything because I never really talked to him.
And that was my situation.
You know?
It was a very arm's length relationship.
like-
Yeah.
But you guys are far more, you actually work on projects together.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I can see, which is nice. A nice
Yeah.
way to do it. Well, now, that was a rehearsal. Now let's do it over again. Actually, we're probably nearly out of memory, so.
Yeah, both of us.
Oh,
was.
no, you were off center.
Oh well.
Oh, well.